Donald Trump ramping up attacks on Senator Ted Cruz, raising questions about Cruz's citizenship and whether him being born in Canada will affect the run or his run for the White House. This latest coming as Trump fights to maintain the lead in key caucus states, New Hampshire and Iowa. Let's bring in Edelman, Berland CEO and former political pollster Mike Berland. And I was saying when you walked into the studio, oh, we've got Monica Crowley and Michael Berland. This is going to be good.
I'm ready, Sandra. But you know what? We are entering the next phase of the campaign, and we see that Donald Trump is ready to go. For the first sort of preseason, as we called it, he was using earned media, social media to get his message out. He wasn't using ads. Now he's looking at the data, and he sees that it's time to go from earned media to paid media. And at Edelman Berland, this is what I do for my clients. I measure their campaigns. I help them optimize and amplify. And Donald Trump is running the same campaign now. He understands the power of repetition, repeat, repeat, repeat. And if you look at his TV ads, he's talking about terrorism, Muslims, border control, and Make America Great. This is a focused machine who is getting his message out. And he's running, from what I can see in my corporate experience, a magnificent campaign.
You know what? It reminds me of Ronald Reagan's 1980 campaign, where he was told by our boss here at Fox, who was running his communication strategy, focus on three main themes: cut taxes, reduce the size of government, and beat the commies. That's because when voters go in, they've got limited attention spans. They need to be reminded of those three major themes. That's what Trump is doing: immigration, the Islamic threat, and Make America Great Again.
Let's look at the social media data. If we can put up the Iowa chart, Trump is looking at the data, and what he sees is, for the first time, look at that green line, for the first time Ted Cruz is beating him in the communication volume. And that's why he's got to go to paid. That's why he's got to go out and amplify his own message, because the earned media is not going to cut it anymore. And so this is not some great thing that I'm investing in my campaign. This guy wants to win. He knows how to do it. He's got the tools and the resources, and this is what corporations and politicians do to win.
And he's actually, the latest poll I saw last night in Iowa, Trump is actually sort of closing the gap. I mean, Cruz was leading by about 10, 12 points, and he's closing the gap.
Are those polls accurate? I've heard a lot of people privately talking about they're polling incorrectly. It's name recognition of people who will not go out and vote in primaries.
That's been the greatest part of it.
You're going to get hit on Twitter right now. That's
hey, bring it. I've already been called, well, a trollop, shall we say.
You know, I think that's the beautiful part of the analysis that we've done here is I have never talked to you about the polls.
Right.
I've talked to you about what the conversation is. And so I'm just...
What is your analysis on Jeb Bush revealing at this moment in time?
I think, in one sense, I share what he's going through. On the other hand, 4% is 4%.
Okay, I just had to ask for Anthony. He's sitting on the side here.
Okay,
you guys are hurting my feelings. You know, the first week of the year.
The first thing is we feel compassionate for what
tears are going to hurt ruin my makeup and everything like that.
Oh man!
But let me ask a question about his ability to get into the independent voter. Let's say he is the nominee. Let's say this strategy's worked, and I do agree he's run a masterful campaign, and he needs to be congratulated for that. How does he transition as the nominee to gain the independent voters that he needs to win the American president?
Well, I think we saw the analysis in the New York Times, which I thought was quite good, showing exactly who that market is. And what's interesting is those are not the Hillary voters. So that his base of support is not Hillary's base of support, and he can now go and start to really get it. The Democrats are going to vote for Democrats. The Republicans are going to vote for Republicans.
I'm talking about that sliver of independence.
We have 10 to 15% in the middle who I think are going to lean Trump. We are, and Hillary, the people of Hillary, she knows what she's doing, which is why she's being measured.
What about those quiet Chris Christie supporters? I mean, he's obviously made a surge in the polls recently.
Look, I think all the candidates are scared that Chris Christie is going to pounce on them, but so far it's been ineffective. He's been trying to do it with Rubio, and it hasn't worked. If we look at the New Hampshire numbers, we can see that he's moved up, and he and Rubio are having like a side conversation, but we still see that Trump is dominating.
Monica, is the establishment going to vote for and support Donald Trump? The Republican establishment, your buddies?
That is a big open question. I think what you're seeing is establishment forces trying to consolidate behind one candidate. I think they've largely given up on Jeb. So the question is, will they back Rubio or will they back Christie, particularly in the state of New Hampshire? Problem for both of those candidates is there's no clear path for them beyond New Hampshire. Ted Cruz and Donald Trump have built huge, sophisticated infrastructures all across the South where most of the next primaries occur.
You ever seen a candidate start out, start winning, and win to the end, line to line.
It is. Well, Michael probably can answer this better than I can, but not in recent history, right?
All right, last word.
I think, look, the big issue is going to be in New Hampshire. You can vote in the Democrat or Republican primary. I think all the Democrats are going to vote in the Republican. You know, we'll see what happens.
All right, Mike Berland, thank you for joining us on that.